While her role as Georgia's president may be largely ceremonial, Salome Zourabichvili's personal politics aren't. She's staunchly pro-Western, sees Georgia's future as part of the European Union, and is keen to see her country move out of Russia's orbit. That's put her in direct conflict with the Georgian Dream, the populist pro-Russia party that's headed Georgia's majority government since 2016. Zourabichvili has publicly slammed some of the more contentious pieces of the party's legislation, refused to sign others into law, and now calls their rule illegitimate after disputed elections in October. In an interview with Euronews, she explains more about the wave of protests happening across the country, and more importantly, what happens next.
Clearly not, because the elections that led to this parliament and then to the government are not legitimate. They are not recognized by anyone. They have not been recognized by the Georgian population in the first place. They have not been recognized by the political forces in the country, because no opposition party has winning partly these rigged elections, and nobody has entered the parliament. So it's one party, illegitimate parliament. And more important even, maybe, that our Western democratic partners have not till now recognized, and more than 1 month has gone by. The European Parliament has said that these elections were neither free nor fair, and they are calling for new elections, as we are calling here for new elections. The people on the street, especially after the last very provocative decision of this illegitimate government to turn their back on European Union and turn their front towards Russia, is something that has stirred an immense protest movement in the country that is not stopping. Every day there are more people on the streets. And more important, there is a real dissent that is growing in the country, in the state institutions, where people are resigning or protesting or signing petitions, depending on which institution we are talking about. The signal of not recognizing these elections is very important. The resolution of the European Parliament is extremely important. I know there is a statement of the 27 members that is in preparation on this situation. There are measures that are in preparation. What we need is a strong support for the new elections. We are not preparing here a revolution. We're preparing a transition to new elections, because that's a stable way for this country to go forward and to go back to the European path. That's what the people are demanding on the streets. Basically, one of the main problems of this country with the European Union all these last years was that we do not have independent justice system. I have introduced a plea in the Constitutional Court against the rigging of the elections, on which they have not even met for the time being. But we have to try all the levels. That's the way, the constitutional way to do things. And there is always hope, but because it could always be that some members of this High Court at one point understand that the stability of the country is in their hands and the fate of the country. So we have to try to put pressure on them. For security forces, I've described the police is on the side of the citizens, because it's a normal police that has been trained, and the black guys are serving their own masters, and the robocops are a state instrument which will go where the state will go. So that's what we have to watch. Georgians are not Ukrainians. We have many things in common, the two countries, because we have been basically confronting the same enemy. But things are very different because the Georgian character is very different. And the dissolution of the state institutions we are witnessing now, including the church, in which we're hearing dissenting voices, which is unheard of, is something that is very specific. Even in Georgia, we have not seen that earlier. So we are confronting something very new, and we are part of something very new that is happening also geopolitically, I would say, where Russia, not winning easily over Ukraine over these past 2.5 years, is now trying to win over the European Union with electoral war, I would say. It's an electoral war. They have carried this electoral war in Georgia, and we are fighting against it with constitutional means. They're fighting the same electoral war in Romania. And they have fought it in Moldova, except that Moldova was saved by the diaspora. And in our case, we were not allowed to use the votes of our diaspora members, which are numerous. So it's a strategy of Russia. And it's very important that the European Union understands that it is a strategy, a hybrid strategy to win over countries that do not want to go towards Russia through these maybe more discreet ways. But clearly in Georgia, where we have a long experience of Russia trying to take over this country and have been very resilient to that, we are going to be resilient, and I'm sure that will prevail the will of the people.